Dear Christian, the thought of coming back terrifies me. Do we have to come back over and over and over again?
Your question, yes. Okay, so so let me ask a different way. If I said that you could have endless joy and endless freedom and endless love and endless opportunities for fun, does that sound bad? Does that sound, do you want to avoid that? Probably not. That probably sounds good. That's like if all incarnations, well, I'll put it a different way, if all incarnations were pure joy and fun, just pure joy, nothing negative, then what would be bad about hearing, oh, you can do that thousands and thousands of times if you want? That wouldn't be bad. Okay, so your question assumes that that physical life is somehow bad because there's pain in it, there's limitation, there's contrast, there's duality. But contrast, limitation, and duality are not the real thing. This is very key. The real thing is the love and the peace and the joy that has no end and doesn't need to do anything. It does not need to incarnate. It does not need to do a single thing. You don't need to do a single thing. But joy is your nature. So if you want to be joyful here or over there, or maybe over there, then you might choose to do that. You might choose to be joyful in one place and a second place and a third place and a fourth place and maybe even a 10,000th place. The reason I'm answering like that at first is because we're not distinguishing as if there's some real thing called the trauma. You know, that duality is purposeful. It has a use. So like a weight on a weight bench has a use. It's just there. It's just heavy. It's just heavy. It's not bad. It's just heavy. It's just there. And if you want to lift it, you can. And if you want to lift it 100 times and get really strong, you can. Do you have to lift it 100 times to get strong? No, of course not. But if you really want to be strong, you might choose to lift it 100 times. And you're so free that you can make that choice 100 times. You see, it's very important to re-angle the question toward what's true and what's real, rather than, because the moment that you assume that the negative is fundamentally real and that powerlessness is real, as soon as you assume that, why the hell would you choose that over and over again? You know? And then so what happens is when people say, oh, I really don't want to reincarnate, of course they have something they haven't processed yet. Because when you say, I don't want to come back, I don't want to reincarnate, what you're really saying is, I don't want this negative thing that I think life means. I think physical life means this negative thing. And therefore I don't want to incarnate. I want to avoid the bad. I want to avoid the pain, you know. It's just that weight is heavy when you lift it. It just has a heaviness that affects your muscles a certain way. But it doesn't need to be feared. Never. And it's never required. The truth of being is the joy. And it never ends. It's simply that if that joy chooses, if it chooses to deepen itself by knowing what it's not, then it might choose to know what it's not in many, many, many different forms. It might choose that. But it's not what it is. It's entertaining something that it's not. You see? So your question is a little like asking, and I'm not, and I understand. I mean, I've had similar thoughts throughout my life when it's hard, of course. But the question is a little like asking, why do I have to be what I'm not infinite times? Well, it doesn't even make sense to ask the question, because you can't be something that you're not. You see? Like the assumption already has something wrong built in. There's already an assumption that you're something you're not. Powerlessness, victimization, shame, you know. I'm not making light of the depth of duality we're experiencing right now, but I think that's really important to understand the context of the question. Because we know that power and that truth. Yes, it is a truth that we are total love and peace and freedom and joy and we cannot die. We know that. And it is from that place of knowing that we might make the choice to really challenge ourselves. I knew this could very, very well be messy. And I knew that it would push me further past anything I'd ever experienced in this direction before, and truly it has. And I'm not saying it's easy now that I'm here, you know. But on the other hand, like I just had an amazing meditation about an hour ago. And beingness never goes anywhere. And beingness is wholeness and joy that we forget over and over and over. That's what the physical experience is about. You know, it's this constant forgetting. So that we then rediscover and refine, oh my gosh, the beingness that I am never left. It never changed. You know? It never changed. And it doesn't need to change. And there's so much peace and power in that. So much freedom. You know, like the freedom to choose to experience being something we're not is first. That's how deep it is. It's deeper than the illusion that it's not something. Yeah. More practically speaking, you don't have to keep coming back. And it's not just this universe or be a guide or nothing else. No. I mean, metaphorically, that's like saying you either go to school at this one school or nothing else. You could go to a different school, entirely different school. You could study a different major in a different school. You could skip higher education and go into technical school. You could skip all school and go train to be an Olympian in the Olympics. You could go mountain climbing. You could skip all that stuff and play video games on your couch. The thing is, if you metaphorically and in spirit, if you sit there and play video games on the couch and just take the easy, no challenge route, eventually there's something that challenge offers. You know, there's a value to it. Like, when you see somebody else who has actually experienced the challenge, it's like, oh my gosh, that is amazing. And you might choose to go do a new challenge, but you don't have to. And the guides are very, very wise with how they help us choose, you know, what we need, what we should do, what would be best for us. But again, we don't have to continue. It's always a choice. It's always a choice. But if you don't like going to school, then you can stop. It's fine. Ironically, when we're there, we say something like, don't let me out no matter what, no matter how much I yell, no matter how much I scream, don't let me out. We ask them that, we tell them that. Don't let me out, even if I cry uncle. I've had enough. Let me out, We're the ones who say, even if I do that, don't let me out. Don't let me out. Because we see that pressure of not being able to be let out, it forces a new opportunity, which is like the biggest gift you could imagine. So it's kind of like, this is not exactly right, but it's kind of like you see somebody in the non-physical and you come across one individual, and it's like they're a god. They're so powerful. They're so wise. They're so loving and free, and their being is just so radiant. And it's like breathtaking, like wow. What a gift to be given this. That's what you think when you look at them. What a gift to be given this state. Who gave that? How are you given this? And it's not that it was given. It's that what they were given was the weight. They were given the opportunity. And through it, there was a great value produced that they get to keep forever. And you are doing that right now. You're in the machine. Within the veil. Thinking, I just don't want to do this again. That terrifies me because it implies, it doesn't mean, but it implies, if you had to do it over and over and over again, that suffering is endless and that your suffering is endless. That's not true. That's a false assumption. It's fear. That's all that is fear. And it's okay. Fear is the only hard thing. Fear is the only hard thing. But you don't have to be afraid. You can face it now, and it's not a correct assumption that future experience will be similarly of suffering. I see a bit of a metaphor in the Olympics, actually. It's like, in Greece, there was these sports, and it was pretty cool. It was a crazy experience. People grew from it, both the people who participated in the sports and the people watching. It brought people together. It was exciting. It was really motivating. It was a thing. The Olympics was a thing. So it got bigger, and it got bigger, and it got bigger. And then this year, they just added break dancing, as an example. Like, the Olympics has evolved as a representation of the attempt to perfect the human in some certain way, to become the best at something in the whole world among billions of people, and we're adding new sports even, because wow, look at this thing that we've made. And when you go back to the other side as an Olympian with a gold medal on your neck or a bronze medal, it doesn't matter. I mean, you look back and then someone says, wow, you're amazing. Are you going to go back next year? Your first thought is not necessarily, well, there were some days that were pretty hard, man. But it's okay if you decide that. It's okay if you say, I'm not sure that was worth it. Okay, fine. Don't go to the Olympics next time. That's okay. That's a fair choice. Every choice is okay. Every choice is okay. You are an Olympian, I'm sure there are moments that the Olympians say, please don't send me back. I don't want to keep doing this. Now, in spiritual evolution, there does come a moment when we see the world of form for what it is. And we decide, through wisdom, not avoidance, that's really, really, really important. We just decide, we arrive at the conclusion, through wisdom, that the world of form does not hold the answers and we may not wish to continue. Not through avoidance. We don't get there because we say, F that, that was too, I'm afraid. And because then we haven't actually fully processed it. But fully processing it and then just simply realizing the nature of form, which is that it cannot provide you all the joy of being. It's not its nature. That already belongs to God. It already belongs to beingness. It's already yours. You already have it. So eventually it is in wisdom that through evolution we discover, oh no, I don't need this anymore. I'm not going to do this anymore. And that is like a graduation, actually. You can do that right now. You can do that tonight. You can do that in 5 minutes after this message is over. It's not done out of avoidance. That's what I meant by surrender. I meant like surrender to fear. It's not done out of like, I'm so afraid I'm going to avoid it. I don't want to continue anymore. It's not done out of that. It's just the natural result of evolution because form doesn't hold all the answers. It's not the thing. But we might come until we figure that out firsthand. And that's really the only way to figure it out firsthand. A simple example of that might be that someone might, I don't know, just take an example. They might become addicted to shopping. And they go and they spend all the money and they buy all the fancy things. And they might really go hog wild. And in the end, they may discover two things. One, they're worse off financially because all their money's gone. They spent all their money on junk, you know. So the first way that form fails us is we find we've put all our energy into this, and then was it worth it, you know? And the second way is we find it just doesn't hold. Like the first thing I'm saying is we expend ourselves, you know. But the second thing is we discover it just doesn't hold the value, the joy. It's not the source of joy. God, in Christian terms, we'd say God is the source of joy. You know, our spirit, which is a part of God, is of joy already. In the Rumi quote, you wander from room to room hunting for the diamond necklace that's already around your neck. It's already around your neck. So why go out and pillage the world of form 1,000 times? Why do that? Because the world of form is very stimulating, very alluring, very firm, very dense, and we get deeply associated into it. And it takes some evolution to see it for what it is. And then we graduate. Not because someone told us, you know, like, oh, you checked off all the boxes, you passed the test. It's not really like that. It's that we become self-aware enough to see what the world of form is. Until then, we might come back to ride a horse. And there's nothing wrong with that.